What's up, guys? Happy start of the season day. Happy Merry Christmas. Whatever this is for you, it is one of my favorite days of the year. To top it off, it's also my birthday today, so just absolutely phenomenal confluence of things. Thank you, universe. Today, on this episode, let us get into my bold predictions for this NFL season. We're going to start at 10. We're going to work our way down to 1. 1 is my dark horse Super Bowl pick. And let's get right into it with number 10. 10 is probably, like I said, 10 is the most boring one. 1 is going to be good, and there's some really good ones in the middle, in my opinion. Number 10, and this is an underrated one, but I think it'll be important. Darius Slayton of the New York Giants gets traded at the trade deadline to the LA Chargers for a third or fourth round pick. Now, some people who don't watch the Giants offense, which I don't blame you for not wanting to watch the Giants offense, will be like, who? Darius Slayton? He's had 700 yards in 3 out of his top 5 seasons. One of them he was hurt, so, that's not really up to him. And he has 19 touchdowns in the NFL. He has also consistently been the Giants' best receiver for the last 5 years, which is a sad statement to make, but it is what it is. And that's not anything against him as a player. It's the state of Dave Gettleman and his roster building. The thing is, the Giants drafted Jalen Hyatt last year, and they are very similar football players who would excel in similar roles. And obviously, the Giants will want to give precedent to a younger player, which is why I think that Darius Slayton gets moved at the deadline. Then I was like, okay, what team could he go to? The Chargers make the most sense because they have a need at that type of receiver. McConkey's kind of your slot guy, Lad McConkey. He's your slot wide receiver. Then you got Josh Palmer, who's a little bit of a do-it-all guy. You don't really have an X. And I'm not saying Darius Slayton is an X. However, he'll probably be the best receiver on the team as soon as he gets there. Quentin Johnson is the guy that's supposed to be your X, but who knows what will happen with him. So I think this trade makes sense for both teams. Compensation we can argue on, but I think this makes the most sense. Moving on to number 9. Dan Campbell has not won Coach of the Year yet. Stefanski won it last year. Dable won it the year before. And the Lions are not in a position where he would be winning Coach of the Year 3 years ago. He has not won Coach of the Year yet, which is surprising because he's probably the newest coach with the most hype that we have in the NFL, and he's probably one of the best new coaches in the NFL as well, especially after that first press conference with the kneecaps and everything like that. His odds to win Coach of the Year are currently plus 2,500 on ESPN Bet and FanDuel. So, I have them going 13-4, 14-3, somewhere around there. If they're the number 1 seed in the NFC and they make it to the Super Bowl, NFL honors, I don't know when people decide who wins each award, the Associated Press and whatnot. But Dan Campbell should have a Coach of the Year award, and I think this is the year because I think this is by far the best team that they've had since he got there. Moving on to number 8. This is where we get slightly more interesting, in my opinion. Spencer Rattler of the New Orleans Saints, their third-round pick, is going to start more games than Derek Carr, the guy that they paid last year, because it just makes sense. Look at the Saints roster. You have so many aging vets, but you don't really have a lot of good players, even though you have some really good veterans like Demario Davis, Tyrann Mathieu, Cam Jordan. They don't really have an offensive line. Derek Carr is not the most athletic guy. Neither is Rattler, for that matter, but, he's a lot younger. He has great arm talent. I think just to get a shot at what happens, and like I said in my preview, I think Dennis Allen is going to get fired in the middle of this NFL season. I think Rattler plays more games than Derek Carr, and I'm excited to see what he does with some pretty good weapons in Chris Olave, Kamara, Rashid Shaheed, a couple other pieces. Number 7, and this could possibly be higher, but I'm just very confident that this might happen. The Dallas Cowboys are going to have the worst record in the NFC East, and they are going to lose it by more than 2 games. That's right. The Commanders, the Giants, obviously the Eagles, they're all going to be better. The Cowboys are going to be absolutely abysmal this year. It just came out today that Dak Prescott is most likely leaning towards free agency. That's your franchise quarterback. When have we seen a surefire top 10, top 11 quarterback in the NFL hit open free agency? We have not seen it. Kirk Cousins, if he hadn't torn his Achilles last year at the age of 35, might have been considered that. But he tore his Achilles at the age of 35, and he got $100 million. So what are team's going to offer Dak Prescott next year if he hits open free agency? The Giants, the Raiders, teams like the Saints, because he's from Louisiana, they are going to offer him the world if he's available. And the Cowboys and their mismanagement have led this to be the most likely occurrence. So they are going to lose more games than anybody else in the NFC East, like I just said. McCarthy's a lame duck head coach. He's going to most likely get fired. Jerry's going to try his best to get Bill. If Bill is smart, he will not accept. I'm talking about Bill Belichick, obviously, not Bill Burr. So, yeah, Cowboys are going to suck this year. Number 7. Number 6, fantasy prediction. Anthony Richardson finishes as the quarterback 1 in fantasy. Over Jalen Hurts, over Josh Allen, over Mahomes. The combination of size, speed, arm strength, and just the Colts roster in general leads this to be a pretty decent possibility if he stays healthy in my eyes, which is why I've drafted him in every league. Also, just the athleticism. He was so good last year. He was one of the best fantasy quarterbacks last year while he was playing in the games that he played in. So I just see him building on that another year to just learn the offense, master Steichen offense, get a rapport in the offseason with Pittman and the rest of the receivers. I think he's going to be really, really good. Number 5. This probably has the most potential to have egg on my face after the season is over. I think Sam Darnold is going to throw for over 3,500 yards and 30 touchdowns, which would be both career highs. I think he's going to obliterate them with the Minnesota Vikings this year. And honestly, they're a dark horse playoff pick for me. But look at the talent that he has. Look at the coaching that he has, the offensive line, the defense. He has never been in a situation this good in his entire life in the NFL. USC was pretty good, but even then, USC at that time was not USC that we see now with Lincoln Riley. So this is probably one of the best situations that he's ever been in his career. If he ever wants to have a chance in the NFL, this is the year. If he doesn't do well now, he's not going to be anything more than a career backup. If he hits the 3,530 touchdowns, he gets paid $30 million next year by a team. And that's pretty damn good, if you ask me. So I have him playing absolutely phenomenal this year, and I think this comes true. Number 4, another trade. Davante Adams of the Las Vegas Raiders, who currently has Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell as his quarterback options, will demand a trade no matter what he says, except I don't think he gets traded to Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, because I don't think the Raiders want to trade him into the conference, just like the Packers didn't want to trade him in the conference the last time he got traded. Now, there's a team in the NFC that doesn't even really need a Davante Adams, but they have the money to get a Davante Adams, and this is the type of move that would put them over the top and take advantage of their current situation. Of course, I'm talking about the San Francisco 49ers, the team that has lost the Super Bowl twice in the last 6 years to the same team. Imagine an offense with Debo, Ayuk, Davante Adams, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Kyle Juszczyk, and heck, Elijah Mitchell and Jordan Mason, with Brock Purdy leading the charge and Trent Williams playing tackle. They have the money. They have about $45 million in cap space right now. If I were them, I would give up a first-round pick in a heartbeat for Davante Adams, because that most likely takes you over the top as an offense, where you're basically unstoppable unless calamity happens or Trent Williams gets hurt, because that's your only good offensive lineman. So I have this trade happening. It could be a different team, but I definitely think Davante Adams is getting traded at the trade deadline this season. Number 3, the Houston Texans will finish as the number 1 defense in fantasy, and they will have the best defense overall in the NFL, ahead of Pittsburgh, New England, Philly, Baltimore, all of these teams. If you look at just the talent that they've assembled, you have Danielle Hunter on one side, Will Anderson Jr. on the other. You got Derek Stingley at corner, Jalen Petrie at safety. There's so many young, good pieces. You added Aziz Al-Shire in the offseason. There's just so many good pieces. DeMeco Ryans is one of the best defensive minds that we have. I think their defense is going to be elite. I think their defense is going to be better than their offense. That's how confident I am in this pick. That is my number 3 bold prediction. Number 2, Matthew Stafford is going to win the MVP award. The LA Rams will win the NFC West. Matthew Stafford is going to throw for over 4,300 yards and 35 touchdowns. The only reason that touchdown number isn't higher is because I think Kyron Williams and Blake Corum are going to get a lot of goal line touches. Otherwise, I think Matthew Stafford might have the best year of his career this year, besides the 2 seasons where he's thrown for over 5,000, because I don't think they're going to throw it that much because they can run the ball very well. But Matthew Stafford wins MVP. He has a great year. He wins the division. And it might be his last year. It might not be. Who knows? He's getting up there in age. He has children and all of that. But he has a elite year this year. And looks absolutely phenomenal. And my number one bold prediction, my dark horse Super Bowl prediction, the team that I think people are overlooking massively, the Buffalo Bills. People are like, oh, Diggs is gone. Oh, Gabe Davis is gone. You have to cut so many players like Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, Mitch Morse. Yes, I agree. That's a lot of change in one offseason for a Super Bowl contending team. However, look at this offense and tell me the number one thing is that they can run the football. They were not able to run the football for most of Josh Allen's tenure. They drafted Zach Moss, Devin Singletary. They had Matt Breida. That cadre of running backs they really couldn't do much with. Now that you got James Cook and Ray Davis, 2 really good running backs. The offensive line is pretty damn good. Receiving-wise, yes, receiver is hurt a lot. Matt Collins is a decent receiver in the NFL. There's a reason that he stuck around so long, even though he doesn't wear shoes. Then you look at a guy like Khalil Shakir, who was really good. He had more targets than Stephon Diggs down the stretch last year for them. And you add Keon Coleman, who's just an absolute dog. And then tight end-wise, you have 2 great tight ends in Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox, who can take up the mantle while the receivers figure themselves out. Defensively, that's where I think the struggle comes a little bit. But a Sean McDermott team will always have a good defense. I can hang my hat on that. So the Buffalo Bills have the potential to win the Super Bowl. And here's how. Because we all know which team they lose to the most. However, the only team to consistently beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, or in the playoffs, in the Mahomes era, has been the Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow. Now, if we get a Bengals-Chiefs matchup in the divisional round, and the Bengals beat the Chiefs, and it's Bengals-Bills, I think the Bills can beat the Bengals a lot easier than they can beat the Chiefs. Because the most important factor is the mental one that, if you haven't beaten the Chiefs for so long, you're most likely going to go into that game thinking that way. So, that is my strategy. I think they can go to the Super Bowl, and whatever team is coming out of the NFC, they can hang with any of those rosters easily. So, I have the Buffalo Bills winning the Super Bowl as my boldest prediction for the 2024 to 2025 NFL season. Thank you guys for watching. I cannot wait to make content regarding actual football starting tonight with the Ravens Chiefs. There will be a prediction out later today. Peace. Please subscribe to the channel. Bye.